Pay to get in, pray to get out. It's 1981's The Funhouse, directed by Tobe Hooper. It's the third Tobe Hooper movie we've done on our little show. We did Texas Chainsaw.
Of course.
And then Gene was not available for Life Force for good reason, but we did that one, and now we're doing The Funhouse. Let's get right to it and see how much Gene hates it. Gene, where are you at with The Funhouse?
Yeah. Somehow, you know me, Roger. Yeah. To say that I despise this movie is to give it too much credit. I really hate this movie. Like, I don't know. Maybe I've been affected too much by the Me Too movement, but I don't know. Whenever a movie, and I knew it was going to happen. Protagonist, the final girl in this movie, Elizabeth Burridge, who, by the way, 3 years later went on to a huge role as Wolfgang Mozart's wife in Amadeus. She did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Academy Award winning Best Picture Amadeus.
Yes. It's a fantastic movie, one of my favorites of all times. You know, she's in this movie, so she's the final girl. And of course, it opens up. She's getting ready for a shower, and I'm just like, I'm saying to myself, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. But what happens? No. She takes her towel off, and there you go. Full right on. There you go. We're seeing full breasts. And it's like, I'm almost done right there.
It's
like completely unnecessary. I mean, maybe it was the deal of the day. You know, it reminds me of the movie Carrie. Completely unnecessary shower scene at the beginning. Yeah, it's just no. Maybe I think it's a relic of that era. You know, I think if a movie, you know, like the movie X is different. You know, it says X. You know, you go into it anticipating, you know, maybe, you know, you're going to see some things, and you are, you know, because it's all about the hypocrisy of American beauty, you know, and how we view beauty in terms of youth. And, you know, it gets into all that, and it's a great topic. It's a great theme. But you're expecting it, and it's part of the storyline. It's part of the plot, and that totally works. But in this movie, it's like, what are you doing? It's like completely unnecessary. And the movie is just really slow. I was looking at the bars, you know, because, you know, you can pause it and see where you are, how many minutes you have left. The movie's about a third of the way through. They're just meandering the teens, 4 teens, right? 2 couples. They're just meandering through this like amusement park. You know, one of those temporary amusement parks that's set up.
Carnival.
Right? Carnival, yeah, thanks. Yeah, they're just meandering around, going to different rides, checking things out. And it's like, what in the world are we doing? We're just like, what's the plot here? There is no plot. So finally they get into the fun house. And I remember going when I was a kid, you go to Elish Gardens there in North Denver. And yeah, one of my favorite rides was like this haunted house. You get in the little car and you drive, you know, you go through this haunted house, little maze thing. And it was like a cool ride, you know. And so they go into one of those and they get into things they shouldn't get into. You know, this movie touches in a little bit of a little interesting plot lines of like a fatherhood and, you know, what do you do if your kid is born is not quite what you think.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and so the movie gets into that a little bit, but yeah, it's like, what are you doing? It's just, and after that, it just becomes so typical. You know what's going to happen. There are no surprises. Yeah. But Roger loves it. How many times have you seen this?
I've seen this quite a few times. Saw it, of course, at the theater when it first came out.
Yeah, nice.
I did mention that.
The 4th Avenue Theater?
No, it was, golly, what theater was that? It might have been Polar Theater, which is now Polaris School. But
which is funnier.
The thing that really endeared me to this film, aside from the fact that I like it anyway, but
right.
We were with a bunch of our little high school friends or whatever.
Yeah, in 1981.
Right, and one of the girls, one of the girls with us starts crying.
Why was she crying?
Well, because one of the great scenes in this film is when the reveal. I don't know if they
use the word great.
Oh no, there's some great stuff in here, especially if you're a Tobe Hooper fan, and especially if you're a fan of Texas Chainsaw. There's similar themes with the family dynamic in Texas Chainsaw, and
Yes,
then in this
gross
movie,
family. There's a patriarch who's a killer. His deformed son, I'll just tell you, he kind of get the sense this son has a good heart, but the dad turns him into a killer.
right?
And so the carnival, wherever they go, there's a line where the dad says, "I don't care what you do with the outsiders, but you can't do anything to the family,"
right?
because he hires this old lady who's what's her name? What does she do? She's like
Madame Zena, the
and she's like a
fortune
teller. Yeah. But he pays her $100 to have a little encounter, right? Sexual encounter. So it doesn't go well. I guess he doesn't like it.
Well,
so the son,
did you know?
and the fortune teller is mean to him. It's really mean to him.
Well, because she knows what's under that mask.
Yeah. And so he kills her.
Well,
So
but
the dad gets really mad.
Did you catch who the fortune teller was? That's Sylvia Miles.
I have no idea.
Academy nominated, two-time Academy
What
nominated for Best Supporting Actress, Sylvia Miles, who is completely slumming as Madame Zena or whatever her
What is she
name
doing?
is.
What movies was she in?
Oh, I can't remember but they're like,
I have IMDb right here.
this is the only movie she did where it was like, what are you doing in here? Because the other ones were like quality films that were nominated for Academy Awards and things. So I thought it was interesting that someone of that stature would be in this film, and it's really indicative of kind of what was happening in the early 80s with slasher movies and things like that, because you had like
There you go, Sylvia Miles.
Glenn Ford.
Madame Zena.
Glenn Ford was in slasher movies. Hal Holbrook was in a slasher movie. So these revered actors.
Oh, she was in Midnight Cowboy.
Right.
And Wall Street.
And was coming, they were coming back into these kind of getting roles in these cheap little slasher horror movies.
Yeah.
So
she was in Life on Mars.
But I love the reveal of the creature here.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool reveal.
You know, and that's where the intensity is started in this film, is when the creature is actually revealed, which, like Gene says, yes, it is, I don't even know, a third of the way in, maybe even longer than that, when this creature is finally revealed. But from that point forward, the movie kind of moves.
The movie finally starts to move places.
Right.
But yeah, it's halfway through, I think, yeah.
It could even be that far. And so there is a lot of stuff that Tobe Hooper is doing to kind of set up the sleaziness of the carnival.
It's
and
pretty
that
sleazy.
it's not
dirty,
really
it's run
a
down.
safe place. And, kind of all the rules are off because they're smoking dope and, doing the little peep show thing and all this weird stuff. The magician guy, carnival guy, is drinking up on stage and all this craziness. And they have the two-headed cow thing and all this stuff. And they're just really setting up and taking a lot of time to set that up, that, okay, this is kind of a sleazy, maybe not very safe place. The people aren't very safe people. And then it gets to the scene Gene alluded to where the monster is revealed, and then we're trapped in the funhouse because we decided we're wacky teens. We decided, hey, let's spend the night in the funhouse.
Right.
The monster kills the Sylvia Miles character, Madame
For some
Zena.
reason, they end up over this room, and somehow there are slats in the roof, and so they can see down into the room, and they can see what's going on between the monster, the son of the patriarch, and they see him choking Zena, Madame Zena, poor Madame Zena. She's dead. She's dead. And they watch the whole thing.
Yeah, but they had also seen that the monster, when he got the $100 to pay Zena, that was the cash box for the whole carnival. So they
go in there
and
they
money.
steal the money.
And one of the teens, wacky teens, steals the money, which is then
the big glasses.
What sets them up to be targets of the creature as well as the carnival barker. Did you notice that carnival barker guy, the matriarch, he actually had 3 roles in the movie? Did you notice that?
Surprise! Am I going to notice that? No, I'm not.
All 3 of the carnival barker scenes where they're going to go into the nudie show and there's the barker there. That's that same guy. And then also the 3-headed or 2-headed cow thing. That barker was also that same guy. I think his name is Chris Conway maybe, or something like that. But he, for reasons I don't quite understand, and maybe Hooper was trying to show that this is kind of one big family here, and these maybe were brothers or something. I don't know. Or it could just be the actor going, hey, I can save you some money by just putting on different wigs and being these Barkers.
Maybe that. But he does say the word family.
Right.
You know, this is our family, and it shows the people in the carnival. They after it closes, they're all hanging out together and having a good time. They clearly enjoy each other's company. Yeah.
Yeah, and it
So
definitely
they
has
treat each other well.
Kind of, because Tobe Hooper had done Texas Chainsaw and then Eaten Alive, both of which are kind of similar films with this kind of family dynamic and, you know, this we have to stick together as family even if we're just twisted and weird. The Funhouse was the first film of his that he actually did in the studio system. It was Universal Studios. And he still kind of brought over kind of his hardcore themes of this twisted family dynamic and these outlanders coming in and disrupting their stuff, and they have to pay for their intrusion into our life, right? But I do.
Well, they're used to killing. So
yeah,
they've done it before, and the patriarch. I keep using that word. I should get his name and his actual name. But yeah, they talk about with the twin girls in Tennessee. That was bad. That was really a bad one. He goes on about that, and then he alludes to other victims in other states. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because the parents of the Elizabeth Berridge character, they warn her not to go to the carnival because this is the same carnival where people have gone missing from. And so it's not like it's unknown. You know, why hasn't there been some sort of investigation? Why is it that everywhere this carnival goes, someone ends up dead? You know?
1981 police force.
Right. And the creature effects, the design of the creature is great. I love the reveal. I love how just completely appalling this thing looks. But then also it has that high-pitched kind of scream that it does, which I just love. And I just think when it starts there, you get the feel of kind of the intensity that Hooper brought to Chainsaw and Eaten Alive to some extent. And it just kind of really rockets off from there.
I don't know if I'd use the word
rockets off.
Yeah, it's another thing I don't like is just that somehow that the person, the son, we'll call him the son, because his
name is Gunther, I believe.
Yeah, because he says when the dad's really angry at him because of the not money in the cash box. He calls him father. Mm-hmm. He says father, and he says, "Don't ever call me that." He gets really mad at him, and he starts flipping out. And so in a way, you feel for him, because this deformed kid, and he's happened to be stuck with this guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I remember a psychology class from way back in the day. The big line from that psychology class was be careful to pick your parents well. Yeah, of course we have no control over that. Right. It's kind of funny, haha. But yeah, it's a huge deal. And this guy, unfortunately, on the parent lottery, he came up short on the parent lottery. But yeah, this parent is a total monster. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's the whole
Mr. Harper, right? Mr. Harper, is that him?
They're evil in there. But
yeah.
I also liked how
Go ahead.
Oh no, Gene.
Oh
please.
yeah. So another reason I dislike this movie is it's like when the other girl is she meets her demise. She actually has a knife with her, mm-hmm. and she stabs the guy, Gunther, in the back. And he's freaking out, blah, blah, blah. He's moving around, obviously in pain. But then he gets the knife out. But then he seems to have recovered.
Well, welcome to 1981 horror movies.
Like, come on.
Yeah,
that's a fatal wound right there. He recovers in his full strength. And
how many times can you ram an axe into Jason Voorhees' head and it doesn't matter, right? How many times can you stab Michael Myers and it doesn't matter, or shoot him? That's
right.
Just 1981 horror right there.
Okay, yeah, that's another reason not to like it, but it's just fantasy silliness. But I do like the ending sequence. Mm-hmm. Ends up in a little dungy little room that's kind of like a mechanical room. And it's funny, there are like these little hooks
Right.
that are traveling along this conveyor belt, you just know somebody's going to end up hooked on those hooks. Remind me of something like meat hooks.
Mm-hmm.
That you put meat on or something. You just, and then there's these big gears, these big huge gears that are they're turning, and it's unprotected. 1981. Where's OSHA? There's nothing there.
Right.
But somebody's going to end up in those gears.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happens.
Well, and that was I love that ending sequence, because what is that room supposed to be? It's like, even if it was running parts of the Funhouse, what is the purpose of those hooks going around in a
There's
circle,
no purpose,
leading straight to the gears? I mean, what is the point of this whole room? I just loved it.
Yeah, it's just set up for the final death
Right,
sequence.
exactly.
That's all it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just like the intensity of that ending sequence. I love
the
the
word
music.
intensity.
Oh, it's pretty good stuff for 1981 horror film fans. The Funhouse did not do very well at the box office. I think at best it broke even.
Really? Of course, the low budget to begin with.
Right. The budget was only like $3 million, $4 million maybe, but it only made around 7 or 8.
Okay.
So maybe broke even. Obviously, over time, the movie has been reappraised by many people. Obviously, not Eugene here.
No, I don't watch this movie.
But definitely has reached a cult level status where people recognize that it is actually a really good example of 1980s horror. The problem with this film is, when did it come out? Right at the height of slasher movies, where this is not a slasher movie, and it was trying to do something a little bit different, and everybody wanted the slasher movie, and so it just did not get its money back.
Bummer.
But I do I do appreciate Tobe Hooper trying to do something a little different. I do like the sets of the Funhouse, the sleaze factor of everything going on there, and then I do like the intensity once that monster removes his little Frankenstein mask, and the way the music just ramps up. And the screaming of that monster is unique and awesome for a creature like that. And just really have an enjoyable time with this film. And I'm okay with the 38-minute setup before you get to anything really amazing.
It doesn't have a long runtime for sure.
It's 96 minutes.
Yes, yeah. But,
it could have definitely cut some of that out. For sure.
Yeah, it would have been better if maybe you just get rid of some of that prelude. I mean, how long do you need to set up that? Yeah, it's a sleazy place, right?
Well, and
30 minutes, almost half the movie. I would say it even goes even longer than that, but it just takes a few scenes, really. And just, maybe if they introduce some of what was happening previous, instead of talking about, the twins. Oh, it was really bad. Maybe show some of that. The movie would be better movie.
Well, but I also think Tobe Hooper, even though, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but if you look at Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Tobe Hooper is very restrained in what he does when there's scenes of intense violence. And the Funhouse is that as well. There is a sequence, which is a great sequence, where the blonde girl is in
restrained? Sally goes out of a window 3 times in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Right, but as far as...
that guy chasing her and just slashing with a razor blade while they're running.
But still, restraint as far as the amount of...
chainsaw, and just right there into his tummy.
But you don't see anything, right?
But yeah,
you just
see
blood being kind of sprayed a little bit on Leatherface. And in 1981, of course, you were seeing, Friday the 13th, right? That arrow, you clearly see that arrow go through Kevin Bacon's neck, and blood is erupting out of the open wound as the arrow is being twisted back and forth, right? You don't see stuff like that in this movie or in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And so Hooper sets up, here's this...
Well, the lady gets on the meat hook in Texas.
But you don't see the meat hook protruding out through her. You don't see...
because she has her hands in front of her.
You don't see any of that stuff in slasher era, especially early slashers. The whole point of it was we're going to see these tremendous gore effects, and you're going to see all of it, right? And here, Hooper is very much, I'm going to set up a thing where something horrible is going to happen, but I'm not showing you Peter Jackson dead alive. I'm not showing you the lawnmower ripping people apart, right? I'm setting it up that this is happening. And the scene I'm really talking about.
Yeah, I wanted to see the guy cut in half by those gears, but it didn't really show up. So I was disappointed.
But I think the scene I'm talking about.
Because he ended up in the gears, of course.
Is the blonde girl in that little kind of tunnel-like thing, and there's the big giant fan there, and they have the creature coming from the other end, so there's no escape for this girl at all.
But she has a knife, so she thinks
she's
can
got
do
the
some
knife,
damage to this guy.
But he had done this subtle thing where that newspaper is coming through, and it's showing how the fan is very powerful. It's ripped that piece of paper, and the monster eventually gets on top of the girl and is starting to attack her, and you can see how the camera was placed from up on the top, and he's kind of pushing her towards that fan. And then it's actually not that. He's just pretending to slash her or slashing her with his hands.
His hands have these little
claws on them.
And but I guess they're sharp, too.
I almost was thinking that the original idea was maybe to actually run that girl through that fan.
I think he just keeps slashing her with his hands.
Because you see her corpse later, and she's got slash marks all over her face. But I just think in a
even though after she stabbed him right in the back, full on right in his left lung, right almost by the heart. No, he doesn't die.
Gene, you've got to give 1980s horror movies a break. The killer can never be killed until all sorts of horrible things, right? Like Chucky last week, where you got to burn him. You got to blow every limb off.
You can give Chucky a break because clearly he's a supernatural creature. He's not an organic living thing. It's a spell's been cast. So
I mean,
lots of things can happen to Chucky. You can go with that.
I mean, Jason Voorhees was melted by toxic waste and somehow comes back, right? I mean, that's just the thing.
Well, and those movies are all just beyond ridiculous.
Well, they're all great.
No, they're not great.
All right, so
I'm kind of done with this movie.
Yeah, it was funny because when I was watching it again, I of course had forgotten about the entire opening sequence, which is this bizarre homage to Halloween and Psycho, and I was like, oh, she's taking her towel off to get in the shower. I'm like, do I text Gene that this is going to happen, or do I just let him just have to suck it up and watch the rest of the film?
Yeah, because there's a ridiculous little brother. He likes to scare his sister, I guess. But he's a little pervert little brother because he gets a little fake knife, and the sister's taking a shower, the older sister, and he goes into the bathroom, opens the curtain. What kind of little brother does that with his grown sister? I mean, you're a little whacked in the head.
You might try it once with your grown sister, and then she's gonna just knock you into next century.
Yeah, you're gonna. Yeah, that's serious therapy time right there. Mm-hmm. And he pretends to stab her, but of course the knife is plastic.
Well, and the weird thing about that. Just again, we're talking the height of the slasher movie, and it's almost like was Tobe Hooper or maybe the studio saying, hey, you got to put some sort of little weird slasher kind of homage in there because we're going to cut that into the trailer and make people think it's a slasher movie maybe. Because they do the whole thing with the little mask, and you see the kid with his little mask on, and he's got the knife and all this.
Yeah.
I should go back and look at the trailer and just see if there's any scenes of that little kid in it.
Of course, did I watch a trailer? No, I'm
not
going to touch a trailer. Why would I do that?
But anyway, Gene appears to be completely done with the Funhouse.
Yeah, I'm done with the Funhouse.
All I'm going to say is, if you have not seen the Funhouse, you are a horror film fan,
you can still skip it.
You should definitely see the Funhouse. Especially if you're going through a whole 1980s era stuff of getting caught up on the stuff you missed. The Funhouse is, my opinion, of course, very unique and fun. Yes, it does take time to get going. Once it gets going, it's pretty awesome. The creature's great. The makeup effects are awesome. And I love his little scream.
Okay, well, there you go.
Gene, what are we doing next week?
Yeah, I definitely prefer more modern horror. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we were talking about Nicolas Cage has got this horror movie out. What's it called? I forget.
Is it Acadian?
Yeah, that one. Maybe that one. There's another. It's an A24 horror. I think it's in theaters now. What's the Midnight Glow, or I can see the TV glow, something like that. Maybe
see, this is my favorite, Gene, because you're acting like me now, where you just don't know the title of the movie. Something's glowing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really paying a whole lot of attention.
All right. Well,
Yeah, but I will probably see Mad Max tonight. Does that qualify as a horror movie? I'm sure it's going to be high body count, but
not a horror movie.
no,
Horrific, probably, but
No,
not a
probably
horror
not
movie.
a horror movie. No.
Because I mean, if you're going to go down that road, we'll have to do Road Warrior next week.
We're not going to do Road Warrior.
No, we are
There's
not.
some great scenes in Road Warrior.
Yes, of course there is.
You just gotta love it with the boomerang that somehow is like razor sharp.
Yeah.
And you gotta throw it and catch it with like chainmail.
Yeah.
And the guy tries to catch it and it cuts his fingers off.
Yep. It's great.
And everyone just laughs. And everyone laughs. Yeah. Road Warrior.
We're kind of weird, Gene. That's all I can say. But something will happen next week. I don't know what it's going to be, but rest assured we will be back to regale you with some random horror movie.
Yes,
we're
it'll
gonna
be a horror
watch.
movie for
Yeah,
sure.
so,
Yes. Much better than this thing.
Well, Funhouse is a good one. So
No, it's not good.
I know. We just disagree sometimes. I should have recognized it immediately when she took her towel off that, oh, crap, we're going down the wrong road for Eugene here. But
Yeah, the movie was... Yeah, I was done right
yeah,
there.
we're done for today. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.